The COVID-19 pandemic and the national response towards it, along with that, the recent super cyclone Amphan has created devastating condition in Odisha and West Bengal. Surendranath College, with its 136 years legacy carried forward from Sir Surendranath Banerjee, is worried equally along with the nation. With this backdrop, IQAC of Surendranath College, in collaboration with the 4 departments, Physiology, Psychology, Economics and Sociology, will be addressing the challenges in a series of webinars, Ride the Tide of COVID with a Ray of Hope, from 15th to 18th of this month. The webinars will surely address the various issues faced during this period. Looking for your active participation. Together we will definitely overcome the situation and challenges. See you soon in the webinar platform. The COVID-19 pandemic and the national response towards it, along with that, the recent super cyclone Amphan has created devastating condition in Odisha and West Bengal. Surendranath College, with its 136 years legacy carried forward from Sir Surendranath Banerjee, is worried equally along with the nation. With this backdrop, IQAC of Surendranath College, in collaboration with the 4 departments, Physiology, Psychology, Economics and Sociology, will be addressing the challenges in a series of webinars, Ride the Tide of COVID with a Ray of Hope, from 15th to 18th of this month. The webinars will surely address the various issues faced during this period. Looking for your active participation. Together we will definitely overcome the situation and challenges. See you soon in the webinar platform. The COVID-19 pandemic and the
We will start in 3 minutes. We will start in 3 minutes. A minute to go. A very good afternoon to all. COVID-19 has disrupted age old societal norms and has changed the very meaning of being social. Now, this is the new normal. We at Surendranath College have accepted this new normal and have upgraded ourselves from the chalk and board classrooms to online classes and organizing webinars to address the bigger platform. I, Dr. Aditi Shorbogo, welcome you all to the last webinar of the series, Ride the Tide of COVID with a Ray of Hope. Now, I would request our principal, Dr. Indranil Kaur, to deliver the inaugural address. Over to you, sir. Sir, you are not audible, sir. Sir, you are not audible.
sorry, yes.
Yes, sir, you are audible now. Okay. Yes, sir, you are audible now.
Thank you, Aditi. Good afternoon to you all. Today is the final day of the 4-day webinar series, Ride the Tide of COVID with a Ray of Hope, organized by the Department of Sociology in collaboration with the IQAC Surendranath College. In India, we have been facing a lot of societal changes and a lot of pressure has been put into our different societal norms because of the COVID lockdown and otherwise. So people have been differently thinking because initially we were thinking that it was the norm for us to stay together close by. Now it has been a system which we need to follow, a distancing societal norm which we need to follow. And this will be a really different challenge for us to face together. Today we have Dr. Madhumita Sen, Associate Professor and Head, Dep- Department of Sociology, Government Girls General Degree College, Calcutta, to provide an overview of the entire situation, and she will also be discussing about the newer norms and how the society will react for it. I hope there will be a wonderful session. Together we will definitely enjoy. Thank you very much. Hoping to have a wonderful session together. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, on behalf of Department of Sociology and IQAC Surendranath College, I, Dr. Bibha Shamadar, feel delighted to welcome all esteemed audience for the concluding session of this webinar. It is a matter of great honor and privilege to have amongst us Dr. Madhumita Sen, Associate Professor and Head Department of Sociology, Government Girls General Degree College, Kolkata. Dr. Sen has to her incredible credit a vast experience of 32 years, wherein she headed the Department of Sociology at the most elite colleges of the state. With her staunch interest in cultural studies, she has excelled to complete many UGC-sponsored research projects. I am pleased to further apprise that she has also been associated as a faculty member in Inter-University Center for Humanities and Social Sciences, Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Shimla. She also has notable published work to her credit, which includes edited volumes of several books. Her relentless contribution and association with various programs related to capacity building of women managers in higher education for the last 6 years are profound and highly commendable. Today, she will be speaking on Unlockdown, emerging into the new socially distanced world. So now I hand over this platform to our eminent speaker, Dr. Madhumita Sen. We are heartily welcoming you, ma'am. Dr. Madhumita Sen, please. Thank you.
Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. Am I audible to all
Yes,
of you?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So,
Ma'am, you have to share your slide. Your slide sharing is not on yet.
is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am, but you have to give it to slide share mode. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely okay.
Okay. This is a new skill which I have to excel. You know, it is just the beginning in the post-COVID world.
Yes.
So I'm extremely thankful to Dr. Indranil Kaur, Principal Surendranath College, for providing me this webinar platform for sharing a few of my humble thoughts and observations. I am also thankful to Dr. Suchanda Chatterjee, IQAC coordinator, and Dr. Bibha Shamadar, head of the Department of Sociology, for their endless cooperation and support. I don't know how many phone calls we had before this session. I'm also extremely thankful to the entire technical team for launching the whole arrangement flawlessly. I'm also thankful to the participants who are here, present here to listen to my presentation or my observations, part observations, and I will be very happy facing questions from them after my talk. Thank you. So, I believe, although all of us, we are in the middle of crisis, and from the every morning we think that another day we have to pass, complying all the new norms of not touching this, not touching that. Put your sanitizer in the pocket, don't touch the handle of the door or bell of the lift, and so on and so forth. So I believe this slide is my, somehow catchword. Depending on this, I will present my whatever I think is relevant today. Life has changed suddenly and unprepared. It did not allow us much time. So it took months to realize and to digest and to believe for us the cruel fact that life has to be redefined and restructured. We have, all of us, we have a, inbuilt resistance. So we don't like to change. So I personally, I stay in a place very close to a big marketplace in the locality. So at the beginning months, like maybe from the third week of March, 17, 18, 19th March, 21st, I guess, was the Janta curfew, 21st or 22nd March. From 17th, 18th March, when we already know that COVID is there in India, COVID has started, making us conscious about its presence. From that time, third week of March till the end of April, you won't believe that the market was full of, like a Calcutta bazaar. People are fighting. Everybody wants to take the thing. Everybody is in a hurry. There are dodging each other and give me first type of a thing. I was so scared. I posted many pictures on my, social networking sites, like in Facebook and WhatsApp. I think today some of my friends are present here also. I told them what is happening. Nobody is listening to, the miking of the police, and there are so many advertisements, so many announcements on the television. Nobody is, ready to listen to that. Everybody was so casual. I was really worried at that time. And now, today, I don't have a picture in my hand, the same marketplace, you won't believe, everybody is, alone, maintaining distance from each other, in the same shops, buying the same goods. No one is on, close enough to each other. So just people have accepted, grudgingly, of course. But the change I can see in front of my eye from third week of March to this third week of June. So, but it took time. It took 1 or 2 full months for people to understand that life has to be changed, has to be restructured. COVID-19 is just not an illness, it is a disaster. And not like other disasters which we met before, we fought before, and we won before to resume our normal run of life. The impact of COVID-19 on the population is so vast that it literally spares no corner of our social existence. It's very difficult to spell out or make a list what are the parts of our life where COVID is not present. There is nothing. So in this presentation, I shall try to mention few of them. Talking everything is not possible, but if you have questions, of course, you can put the questions after my presentation. For a moment, keeping aside the impact of economics and cost to life, COVID-19 has been the largest global experiment in isolation and its effects on people. As people around the world are emerging from a prolonged period of isolation and living in close quarters, it is another observational experiment in the management of psychological trauma. This trauma is no less by measure when compared with war, genocide, physical trauma leading to stress disorder, etc. Sufficient spectrum of factors like severe trauma, the scale of impact, the prolonged recovery, and lingering uncertainty are some of the aspects the world is fighting with today. It's still on. We don't know how long it will be there and where is the end. Everybody, I don't think anybody can see any end. So the crisis is far from coming to an end. A fact that is becoming more evident from the growing number of infections and the rising trend lines on the graphs. The economic necessity is driving people back into the society. Even with the limited preparation by government and private organizations in dealing with the scale and complexity of what is indeed to prevent a re-emergence. All of us are worried. We are going out. There is no other option. But till date, there is hardly any arrangement. Life will not be the same from here onwards. It seems clear that life has to be ruled by a set of regulations which are unprecedented, reliant on self-governance, and severely restrictive. Decision-making at an individual level is driven by uncertainty and a constant sense of risk. We have faced many risks before also, but this type is absolutely novel. Its name is novel coronavirus. I don't know why, but then it is novel for us. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the short form is FUD, has become part of our attempt while trying to resume normal daily routine. Here I put the word normal within quotes because in our past experience, what was normal, it was something totally different. Now the normal will be redefined. The normal will be, we know what we are doing. We are using so many things and we are maintaining so many new type of behavioral pattern. Now in this world, those will be normal. So that's why sociologically, we refer to normal as what is sanctioned by the society. And we know that now the sanctions of the society are something else. So that's why it is put in quotations, quotes. As life now onwards roll on the FUD mode, anxiety will remain a part of our mindset. Each of the trivial decisions, trivial from our past experience, trivial decisions like very simple decisions, going to office, boarding public transport, face-to-face meetings, coffee breaks, general social interactions, or sending our children back to school will no more remain as easy as our past experiences. Each of them will make us anxious and has to be grossly rescheduled. FUD eventually is pushing us towards grossly restructuring social interaction as a whole. You know, I don't know what will happen to this CCDs, very popular outlet where while coming from the college, 2 or 3 of us sit and chat. There is so many places where just we take a little break. Now it is just not possible. And going alone to a coffee shop I don't know how much feasible is that. As we are teachers, in the staff room, there are many times after taking classes, we used to chat with each other. I don't know what will happen to that particular mode of ventilator for us. So everything which we never thought about, we have to go to office, we have to put a dress, we have to take a bag. Now everything we have to think, what dress I have to wear. We don't now, wearing a watch or wearing jewelries is not permitted. It is not permitted. It is risky. Because COVID, we don't know when COVID will, come to us. So every bit of a thing from the morning till night, if we are going out, are taking our time. We have to think. We have to calculate the best possible way to keep us away from the enemy. I don't know who is the enemy. That is another interesting fact. During the lockdown period, people have learned things that they would never thought before, but they accommodated the new experiences, of course, grudgingly. We were so irritated at the beginning. How many times we have to, clean the door handle with sanitizer? Initially, sanitizers were not available in the market. The simple small bottle of sanitizers were available at the normal price, maybe 50, but we bought it for 200. So some certain things which we never thought, some medicines, they just vanished from the market. Some sanitizer to one very important. Now I think it is more easily available because now we have accepted. Initially, we'd never thought that we have to stock sanitizer in our house or we have to stock soaps in our house. So these are all new things, but we accommodated. We were irritated, we expressed, we were in argument, we rejected, we accepted, so many things happened, but finally we accommodated. Now, while we are stepping out of the stay home, stay safe mode of life, finally we accepted that this mode of life, in every social interaction sites, that was the last word for many people: stay home, stay safe. Wishing people good wishes, stay home, stay safe, became a very popular wish nowadays. But now we are going out from that safe place and trying to apply those experiences in public life. They are faced with anxiety and confusion because we don't know which is the right, which is wrong. Many things we are interpreting ourselves. It is not much academic, but I think this is a good example. When we buy vegetables from the vegetable vendor and we bring it in the house, me and many people like me, I know, they take a bucket of water and put all the vegetables in it and wash it and then keep the vegetable at the balcony for hours to become purified. We don't know whether they are being purified or not. But these are the, at the back of our mind, we are anxious. And these are the expressions of anxiety. Till date, we are doing that. We don't know whether what we are doing, whether that is right or not. We are confused, totally confused. Most of the people are not built to cope with what is needed. That is, most of the people do not know how to self-govern. Most of the people have not learned to survive with such extreme restrictions on social interactions and behavior as it is required just to survive in the society. Most of the people do not well to cope with the large scale of uncertainty. This is a peculiar kind of uncertainty. It is not comparable to the other kinds of uncertainty which we faced in our past experiences. We had uncertainty, but we could see the end somewhere. So we used to try to solve the problem. Here, we don't know what we are doing, whether it is a solution or not. We have to wait till the time when medical science can bring us with some medication or vaccine or something like that. For the first time in a long past, there is no one to blame or hold responsible for what is happening. The enemy, I just told you that enemy is unknown and unseen. We don't know who is the enemy. We have a picture of a virus, but the virus is not that it will come to me straight. From whom we will get that virus, how we will be contaminated, we don't know. We have some idea and we are trying to put those ideas into practice, but we are confused. So, as we come out of the lockdown, what should we expect? On the face of it, there are certain simple steps. All of us know these steps. Wear a mask, maintain 1.1 to 1.5 meter of distance from people around you. I kept it 1.5 meter because in Western societies, I was going through the YouTube videos and some articles. I saw that they are maintaining 2 meters in a Marks and Spencer or in a grocery shop in UK. They are maintaining a queue 2 meters gap between one person and another person, and they are just in a huge shop. They are allowing 5 or 6 people so that they can maintain that much of distance from one another. So 1.5 meter distance from people around you. Don't touch your face. If you can, stay at home. Wash your hands at least 20 seconds, at least for 20 seconds whenever you touch anything outside your home. Sanitize. Carry a small sanitizer bottle whenever you are stepping out of home. These are a few very, at the first glance, these are very simple steps. Washing hands and keeping distance and wearing a mask and not touching our face. I realized after this crisis, how many times in a day we touch our face with our hands. Either we touch our forehead or eyes or nose, or now we are conscious. Initially, every time I am talking to my son, he used to say, Nima, please put your hands down from your face. Either this part is itching or the hairs are coming here or something or other happening on the face. Now we are finally became much more conscious. So at the face of it, these 5-6 steps, which seems very simple. But now let us scratch the surface and to see how these are impacting the individual. First is mask. When was the last time everyone wore or owned and carried masks outside a surgical environment? Back when chemical warfare was a true fear during the world wars, wearing a mask and seeing everyone wear masks around us will do certain things. 1, compound the fear. 2, underscore and even magnify the threat in the mind of people. 3, wearing a mask in itself reduce interaction because you don't identify people unless we chose to wear name tags. The change is so fundamental that with everyone wearing masks, we have now even to teach ourselves to identify people by their eyes and foreheads. Eyes will be all sorts of facial expression. Here I just like this picture. This picture was from Facebook, and some private company, they are making these personalized masks, of course expensive. But I don't know how many of us will like this, and this has risk also, because I can wear somebody else's face and do something wrong. So look, mask is so much of a mask, just simple wearing a mask is changing all our understanding about the face. We have lot many non-verbal communications throughout the day. Not everything we say, come, we just make a facial gesture. We don't say come. If I don't like anybody, we can make a facial gesture with face, some part of the face, and eyes are very important. But now the eyes are only left, rest part are unseen. That is, when half of the face will remain covered, I'm sure new skills will be developed to compensate the condition, at least when we are out of the home. We have in sociology, we have a huge chapter on this non-verbal communication, where we make our students understand. And they also enjoy this chapter very much. When something is stinking, we don't say that it is stinking. We just make a gesture on our face. But now, even if I do this, you can't see, because only eyes are visible and forehead. That is one. Secondly, it is really difficult to identify people. People whom we know very closely, maybe we can identify a family people, or somebody else whom we meet every day. By their dress, by their walking, by their way of talking, they can be identified. But there are people with whom we have to interact every day, whom we do not know much. So we have to identify them just by their eyes and forehead. We will develop, I'm sure we will develop newer skills for this. Just 2 days back, I went down for something. I don't know why, I don't remember why. Went down to the garage. There were many cars in it's a standalone building, and there are 16 apartments. So there are 14 or 13 cars in the garage, and the boy was moving around. He had a handkerchief tied on the head, because now it is being said that you have to cover your hair also. That is also risky when you are going to public. So handkerchief was tied on the head, and mask was there, and gloves were there. So and he was washing someone's car or rubbing something like that. After a few seconds, I asked, are you Ram? The person who washes our car is Ram. And then he said, yes. My God, if I have seen him in some other place, it was impossible for me to identify that particular person as that particular person. So we will develop, I'm sure we will develop newer skills to how to identify persons. And this has a risk also, because, not all identifications will be right. So that there is a gap between that. Looking at the whole face and looking only at the eyes may not be the same. And will not be the same. Not me, it will not be the same. Large part of our non-verbal communication system need to be re-understood and reinterpreted. When half of the face will remain covered, I'm sure new skills will develop and compensate the condition. Secondly, and very important, physical distance. In sociology, it is actually social distance. as we are looking at the television and at different media, social media, etc., it is social distance. Everybody is advising to maintain minimum social distance, yes. But in sociology, we also like to add the word physical. When we say social distance, we are also referring to the physical distance, 1.5 meter. So my son is there in Gurgaon. We are having a long physical distance, but no social distance. So that's something. I'm not going to entering into the intricacies of sociology here. So physical and social distance. When was last time we maintained this much of distance with everyone in any social occasion? Buying groceries, weddings, meeting friends, or even walking down the streets during morning walk or evening walk? No, I guess never. We never maintain consciously any social distance, and social or physical distance. But now onwards, we are being forced to learn how to see the enemy in everyone around us. Anyone can be a carrier and a vector, especially in a society that has taught us the importance of physical contact, whether a shake of hand or a hug. This will be a whole new level of unknown. It has the potential of driving us to extreme distrust and fear of being misunderstood. It will also create a distance that will reduce interaction, sharing intimate expressions of affection. So we are in a society where intimacy is expressed through physical proximity. And now that part is no more there. So the chance of being misunderstood or the chance of being misinterpreted is there. So again, the same thing, I'll say that I believe that we will develop newer skills and newer understandings to come over this kind of difficulty. We are put in a difficult novel situation of close but not close enough in a society that defines intimacy by physical proximity. We are close but not close enough. That is the only way I can express this deep problem. Our time management will also be impacted. For each and every social interaction, now onwards, we will have less time, less conversation, and more physical distance. We have already marked these on the electronic media channels. We have seen meetings in the news channels. They focus on meetings. Different government meetings are going on where chairs are kept, at a distance. And in a room where maybe 50 people could be accommodated, only 20 people are there. So that is a new mode of time management. In that kind of a meeting, people will be brief because everybody will talk that much, which is only necessary, not only the governmental meetings, in our daily life also, in our office also. So this is because the priority is to keep oneself away from others. So we will try to complete our conversation and then say bye. We will prefer to be alone than to be in a gathering, whatever distant it may be. Another important point is stay at home. That is also something which has been continuously, there on the social media, on the television network, on the radio channels. Stay at home, stay happy, stay safe. Spending more time at home is another dictum while maintaining social distance. Not many of us have lived this long at home, because we normally, what happens, we go out 10, 11 in the morning and we come back 6, 7, 8 in the private sector, maybe more than that. So being at home for a long time is not common for many of us. But for those of us who can live and work at home, the 4 past months have taken a toll. This particular sentence, I'm now missing a slide. It has been told by one senior private company employee, because they are all locked in the home. They are working from home. But previously, work from home had the option to go out. Now work from home do not have the option to go out. You have to be in the home only. So they are describing it as a toll. It has taken away all our channels and avenues of self-expression, venting and sharing. In the short run, most people welcomed the chance to spend more time with families, but living with families 24/7 over a prolonged period did not result healthy way of life. Especially for those huge section of people who are habituated with going out for profession. It tends to highlight the dark spots and imperfections, deepens the fault lines. What seemed charming and adorable tends to become tedious, unbearable, and a source of constant irritation, and often a continuous soreness. This is being felt in most countries where individual behaviors have long been dictated by family values and social rules. China has a record rise in the divorce rate. Countries around the world have seen an increase in the domestic violence. At this point, again, not much academic, but I like to mention one of our noted novelist, Buddhadev Guha. There is a beautiful novel called Bangri Poshi. Bangri Poshi is a place in Orissa, close to Orissa. Bangri Poshir Durattir, the name of the novel. In the novel, he mentioned the concept of a balcony, baranda, Bangla boi seta, baranda. সেখানে তিনি বলতে চেয়েছেন প্রত্যেকটা মানুষের জীবনে যত সুন্দর ঘরই হোক একটা বারান্দার প্রয়োজন আছে, যেখান থেকে সে বাইরেটা, পৃথিবীটা, আকাশটা দেখতে পারে। এই বারান্দা, আমরা যখন বাড়ি খুঁজতে যাই, আমরা সেই বাড়িটা নিই যেখানে অন্তত এক চিলতে বারান্দা আছে। এই বারান্দা হচ্ছে আমাদের স্পেস ফর ভেন্টিং আউট, স্পেস ফর typically for ourselves. So in this particular occasion, I just like to mention, I love this expression of Buddhadev Guha. So this baranda is totally closed now. Baranda, the word has been used metaphorically, of course. It is totally closed now. Everything is in the 4 walls of the house. Next, I will emphasize on the dictum of washing hands frequently. Now, when we wash hands, when we feel dirty, so washing hands frequently implies a sense of dirt. At the back of the mind, we feel that something we have to wash out. Think about when we wash and clean ourselves so often. When we come from a playground or from a long road trip, or a monsoon experience in Kolkata or Mumbai roads, sweating in sweltering heat, like that. Cleansing generally follows any experience that leads to the underlying concept of dirty. If we walk back, we are being told that we are continuously being pelted with an impurity that we must cleanse. In this modern world, we are now using sanitizers for the similar purpose. A sense of fear is chasing us and we are doubtful about everything around us. Next, and a very important point is we have to develop a totally new set of skills. There is going to be it will going to be a survival need for the individuals to develop new set of work skill. For example, online classes, online payment system that Google Pay, Paytm, etc. Zoom, Google video conferencing, which I'm doing now. I was not much, friendly with all these things, but I had to learn because I had to take Google classes. Video conferencing, meetings, online groceries. So groceries are also now coming online because people are putting everything outside the door on a clean mat, and then we are taking them inside in a bucket or on a gamla type of something more spacious, and then spraying sanitizer on it, and then putting it for 2 days or 24 hours, whatever, depending on the, if it is ice cream or butter, you cannot put it outside. You have to sanitize it properly and put it in the refrigerator. But online shopping is becoming popular, and becoming popular means we have to develop the skill. The younger generation, they know it, but society is a mixed population, so everybody is now trying to develop skills, newer skills, to create a sense of togetherness and to establish a sense of community in this socially distanced world. Virtual skill remains a survival necessity. Huge part of the population did never imagine these as survival necessity and are yet to develop a grasp over the newer skills. Having a system unavailable, system means for these we need Android phones or laptops or something like that, some technical gadget. Having a system available, downloading applications, developing totally different set of communication skills, which are essentially virtual in nature, are some of the many prerequisites for developing this kind of a skill. You need the technical gadgets, otherwise cannot develop. Travel through the FUD mode of life assures us more safety in the virtual world. Going out and, doing meeting in the college staff room is not suggested now. Better we arrange a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet and we discuss it. It is ultimately the question of making decision. So that can be done virtually as well. We are planning to take examinations in this virtual space very soon. On the other hand, these are all a particular kind of, things which we need to develop or which we need to do in the new socially distanced world. The socially distanced existence will essentially lead to a society that is gripped by loneliness and associated depression, a damaging situation for both psychological and physiological health. Some sense of being alone. To deal with the vastly changing world, there need to be, how to cope with this? What will be the solution? I don't know, but my humble idea is that to deal with the vastly changing world, there need to be structural and systematic changes and interventions at a large scale, at my macro level, at the policy level, and consequently at the infrastructural level. Because in the college, for example, we have a small departmental room where 3-4 of us sit. That is no more possible now. So infrastructural, the classrooms where we have 100 students sitting 3 per bench. So you have to change 1 student per bench. So we need a huge, for just one space, for example. There are many other places. And the changes need to be facilitated through law and through large-scale awareness drives. There needs to be mandated care facilities and staff recruitment and training on the management of employee health. So with that, I like to end my ideas, my reflections on the newly developed world with the last slide, where we will still continue. We are the actors on the stage. We will still continue to be the actors on the stage, but with a grossly changed script and direction, to put it in Irving Goffman's scheme. Thank you. Thank you, slide.
Thank you, Dr. Madhumita Sen, for delivering such an articulate and eloquent speech that gave us an insight on how the definitions of social bondage, expressions of emotions, and the display of interpersonal relationship going to redefine in a changed social fabric with new emotions, customs, and behavior. Often the lockdown is gradually withdrawn. Dr. Shane has correctly pointed out that more people are impacted than infected, and how life has to be redefined and restructured in the post COVID world. Madam, you have nicely defined that what is going to be quote unquote normal, and taught us how to cope up with this new normal. I sincerely hope that the crisp and declamatory presentation by Dr. Shane will help us to think critically on being a part of that social evolution, with the hope of breathing deep in the COVID-free world in near future. On behalf of Department of Sociology, I extend a very heartily thanks to Dr. Shane for gracing this occasion, sparing your valuable time, and sharing your findings and opinions with us. I would also like to thank all the participants who joined this session, and I express my gratitude to IQSC Surendranath College and the whole fraternity of this institution for being a constant source of support and encouragement, and their tireless efforts to organize this webinar. Now, moving to our next session, the platform is open for discussion, and I would request Professor Koena Ghosh, another faculty from Department of Sociology, to conduct the question answer session. Over to you, Koena. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, Koina, you are audible.
A very good afternoon to all. Thank you, Vibha Madam, and thanks, Nandini Madam, for giving me this opportunity. Thanks a lot, Dr. Shen. It was really an insightful and thought-provoking session, I must say. The pestilence-ridden social life has created many new codes of social norms that have very rudely altered our sociability. In such difficult quarantine stage of life, this exuberant presentation is like a refreshing breeze to breathe in. Well, there are lots of questions from the participants. Thank you, participants. We are really overwhelmed. But I'm sorry to say that due to paucity of time, we will be discussing only a selected few. Ma'am, shall I proceed with the session?
Yes, do, please.
Okay. The first question is, does the new socially distanced world pave the way for a world where disbelief and untouchability will remain? Ma'am.
Yes, this is.
Shall I repeat, ma'am?
No, okay, I got it. The untouchability which we refer to in our normal course of conversation is totally different from this one. Yes, here also we are practicing untouchability, but for a different cause. So the untouchability which we have in society already, it will be there. And another, it will be added with a new kind of untouchability, so to say. Because we are scared of touch. And that is the basic, basic tension, anxiety at the back of our mind. So I think I think that these two types of, and you can say that a new kind of untouchability will emerge along with the older ones, but that among the untouchables, this untouchability is the addition again. This is a universal phenomena. Okay, next question.
Yeah, ma'am. The next question is, don't you think social distancing for long time affects the collectiveness and lead to emotionless relationship? Ma'am.
Yes, emotional world will get a jerk, no doubt. And emotionality need to be redefined. The basic part of my presentation was that we live in a society where proximity is, is the measure of expressing emotion, closeness, love, nearness, everything. So when we are not close physically, some kind of emotionality will get a jerk. But I believe that it will take some time in months or maybe years. New norms, new pattern of behaviors will come and will be institutionalized, and we will be, feel well comfortable with this distance emotions. Okay. And that is the only possible option I can think about now. Institutionalization is necessary because now what we are doing, all of us are doing in individual effort. So what you are doing and what I am doing are different from each other. Broadly alike, but basically different. So we need to get a common guideline, societal guideline, which is yet to emerge. After that, I guess we will be more comfortable with this distanced expression of emotional. Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, the next question is, how will social distancing affect the older adults differently from the younger counterparts, and how the new normal affect the children? Ma'am.
That is a huge, that will need another talk. This social distancing and the spending more time in home is definitely a different, totally different guideline for the parents to deal their children. So far, we could see on the streets and on different places that there is too much of expectation from the children. That is, one children means one's people who are, school going or college going people. Can you just tell me the beginning of the question once again when you talked about the older people?
Yeah, ma'am. How social distancing will affect the older adults differently from the younger counterparts?
Okay. Look, I personally feel that this kind of a situation is not much disturbing for the older generations, because of age, because of physical, restrictions, they have already accommodated a restricted movement in their life. But for the younger generation, yes, they have to accept again the same answer, that things need to be institutionalized. Because what I am doing, I have mentioned in my observations that there is a huge scope of misunderstanding, distrust, misinterpretations, because we are not used to distance. So I believe that things will develop maybe in years. It is not easy to develop, but it will develop, of course, through trial and error method. People will accept. The relation between the generations will again be reconstructed socially, social dictums. That's why I said, in a society where physical proximity is the nature of our relationship. If I love you, I'll sit by your side and I'll gossip. And we cannot think about talking to each other from other side of the table, because other people will listen to that in our staff rooms. There are a cluster of people. Everybody is in a low voice discussing something, not against one another. That's their personal discussions. This thing will vanish. So everything is now distance. That's why I said that interactions will be less. When I am the other end of the table and I have to talk to you, so it is better we will not talk. We'll go back home, which is our priority now, because that is a safe place. And then I'll talk virtually or over telephone, whatever. So the whole thing has to be restructured. I don't know, it will take some time, but it will be. There is no other option.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, any more questions?
Yeah, ma'am, there are so many, but just I have selected some of them. What is the scope for field survey in a socially distanced world?
There will be new guidelines. Yesterday I was going through the YouTube interviews and this and that. I have seen that Ram Gopal Verma is a famous film director. He used this lockdown phase, and he in a short interview expressed that he believed that industry may not return to the normalcy for a very long time. So he shoot a film on COVID-19. And in this shooting, he tried to set a trend of shooting totally in compliance with the COVID-related precautions. So when are you saying about the field surveys? There will also develop a new trend. Film industry, they are trying to develop new trend of maintaining their shooting work in compliance with the COVID norms. So in the same way, field surveys, in our syllabus, we have field work. So new guidelines will come up, I'm sure. Again, that is a time. It will take some time. Immediately, we don't know how to do it. Okay. Next.
Ma'am, next is, how should the differently abled persons, that is those who are blind, cope up with the norms of physical distancing in this COVID-19 situation?
Look, this it's a common sense reply. They have to be trained. If they're now coping with this physically not so distant world, physically, socially not so distant world, because they have the training to move in this world. In the same way, they will also develop the skill. We have to develop skill into them for living. That same way, We are also now socially partly disabled because we cannot use our old skills in this new society. We have to develop everything afresh, which is difficult, but we have to do. That will be more difficult for them, but they will also develop.
Ma'am, two more questions are there. How safe are women in this new social system?
Not at all safe. Women were never safe, and they will not be safe in this new social system. The social system, communication system, behavioral system is new. But the mind for which we feel unsafe will be there. So women are equally unsafe in this new world as well. For women, nothing has changed. In a socially closed system, they were unsafe. In socially distant system, they are equally unsafe. So for women, there is, and if you consider the question of safety, it is really difficult. I have just mentioned that domestic violence increased in all the countries, not only in India. So women lost their personal space in the families. In many families, it's not applicable to all families, but in many families, they lost their personal space. There was a space when she used to be alone in the house, which was her time. But now as people are staying more in the home and less outside, because home is the safe place, so they lost their time. So for women, it is nothing to say differently. It will remain the same. In fact, initially there was some discussion that, okay, people are so much engrossed in thinking about COVID-19 and infections and the hospital management and this and that, rape and molestations are now becoming fewer in number. But already for last 15 days, news are again coming up. Now, there is no space in the media to put this news there. Now, so many things, the front news about the front is another edition for last 2-3 days. COVID is there. International relations are there. So they are not having enough time to put women's problem there. But I cannot remember the date. Maybe in a week back, there was again the same thing happened somewhere in UP. So for women, it is the same, maybe worse. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Next question.
Ma'am, this is the last question of this session. That is, how this situation will affect the socialization of the children.
This is, for the children, it is really difficult phase, really difficult, because socialization, again, the child who is just started being socialized, for that particular section, it is okay. Okay means they will be socialized differently. But the children who are already there, who used to go to playground, who used to go to swimming pools, who used to go to the tutorial homes with friends, birthday party, and so many other places, for them changing the whole mode of life, the parents need to take immense care without a word of scolding. The parents need to look at their children with a totally new eye, with a totally new glass. They need to be more and more friends with their children, whatever business they have. So for the children, of course, yes, socialization will come. They have to understand, but the parents need to spend enough time with their children to make them understand the necessity of this distanced world. Yes, that is really a problem. That is a huge area with which we can organize another session. I love to. I was listening to one YouTube video. How they are reacting. Initial days it was wonderful, but then with so many days when they're within the four walls, many of them want to go to school. Initially, parents were telling they don't want to go to, some of them, not all again. School, they used to love to be in the house, to watch the television or to play video games or this and that. So many gadgets are there now. But now they want to go to school. Now they have to the parents need to make them understand, no, these are the risks. So you cannot spend much time in school when they start going to the school. And why they are not going to the school, that is also something they need to make understand their children. That is. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again. We are extremely pleased to have you here with us.
Thank you
Uh,
to all of you, Kwena. You and the whole
Thank
team
you.
of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of the Department of Sociology, I convey my regards to you, ma'am. I also convey my regards to our principal, sir, Dr. Indranil Kaur, for his constant encouragement. My sincere thanks to IQAC team and seminar committee for their untiring effort. Now, over to you, madam, Dr. Suchandra Chatterjee, our IQAC coordinator.
Thank you, Kuena. Am I audible, Aditi?
Yes, yes, ma'am,
Yes.
you're audible.
So, a warm and blissful afternoon to all of you present here virtually from various locations for the concluding webinar of our 4-day webinar series, Ride the Tide of COVID with a Ray of Hope. You know, the best and beautiful things in this world cannot be seen or even be touched. They must be felt by heart. Thank you is one such prayer among them, and it is actually the fairest blossom that springs from the soul. And it's my proud privilege to propose a vote of thanks for today's nice speech and for contribution of those who worked really hard day and night to make this webinar happen. I, on behalf of Surendranath College and the entire fraternity of the institution, first of all, extend my most sincere gratitude to the Almighty for His grace and blessings that made this webinar series what it was amid lockdown. On behalf of IKC, I extend a really hearty vote of thanks to our honorable speaker, Dr. Madhumita Sen, for gracing this occasion, sparing her most valuable time and sharing with us her findings and opinions in most beautiful manner. Thank you, madam, for your so eloquent speech. I am immensely grateful to our college authority, the governing body, for their constant encouragement and support. A special thank to our respected principal, Dr. Indranil Kaur, for being an inspiration that motivated us to do our best. My heartfelt thanks are due to all my colleagues, both teaching and non-teaching, for their cooperation and support. Sincere gratitude to all the faculty of 4 participating departments: sociology, psychology, economics, and physiology, for their tireless effort to make this webinar series a success. IQAC is really indebted to them. And there were obviously some people behind the scene, starting from flyer designing to trial video preparation, certificate making to Zoom meeting conduction, and live streaming. All these were efficiently done by our most proactive and enthusiastic faculty members, the dedicated members of our seminar workshop committee, without any external help. Just look out the bright faces at our team webinar. Dear members, I am always left astounded at the level of dedication, hard work, and sophistication you put in each situation. May you reach every height of success. And last but not the least, I thank our beloved students. Though we are really missing you all in the classroom these days, your spontaneous presence in these webinar series have made this event no doubt more colorful. So with this, we are at the very end of our 4-day webinar series. We all know that however beautiful a thing may be, must end at some time. And so is our webinar. Throughout this series, we have tried to discuss about some physio, psycho, socio-economic aspects of the COVID problem and emerged with definite solutions. So hope this series somehow has helped you to learn how to ride the tide of COVID with a ray of hope. This was actually our first venture in digital platform. So request you all earnestly to excuse us in case of any mistake or shortcoming. Valued viewers, we owe to you a lot for being with us throughout the series. Without your active participation throughout the series, this event would not have been successful. Now it's time to conclude, and I would love to conclude this webinar series with a Vedic verse, the most popular and most heard one, but most pertinent at the same time in this current scenario. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kasya Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti Hai, Shanti Hai, Shanti Hai. May all be prosperous and happy. May all be free from illness. May all see what is spiritual uplifting. May no one suffer. May peace prevail everywhere. At this difficult time, let's come and pray for that eternal peace from this platform and let there be peace on earth very soon. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Shuchandra. After your peaceful talk, I'm sorry, but I have to make two important announcements for my dear participants before you leave the meeting room. Uh, One is you have to fill the feedback form by 11:30 p.m. today. After that, the link will be closed, and the link is active right after the seminar. That is right now. And second is I'm glad to share that four departments have received the DBT Star Strengthening Scheme. Surendranath College has backed the DBT Star Strengthening Scheme, and our first program is on Saturday. Under the scheme, our first program is on Saturday, our webinar on tips and tricks for publishing in international scientific journals. So if you have yet not registered, you can register in the link, and which will be available to you in WhatsApp and Facebook and all electronic media. And so hope to see you on Saturday in the same platform. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Bye bye.